So I am very excited to share this with everyone. This was a session, kind of a recent session. It was just at the end of March we did this one. And this client is a really good friend of mine, very, very special person. She is just one of the sweetest people, just so kind and so patient, every moment that I have known her. So thank you so much to her for letting me share this. So what I did was type everything out, and I'm just going to kind of read through those. So I'll be at both parts. So it'll be me asking her questions. So this is when she is under hypnosis, and we're kind of going through her past life, the story, and it is just so amazing how relevant it is to now. So I know things are tough right now, but there really is a light at the end, and hopefully from this session you'll see there's a light during all of this. So I hope this brings a little bit of joy, a little bit of laughter, and just funness to your day. But this is a great example of one of the sessions. So yeah, it is pretty much all in here. I left out some of her personal stuff. She and I had done a session quite a few months back, and she was just looking kind of how to transition, how to do her own thing. And now that she was working on that path, and that of course a lot of things had kind of come to light and happen, just how to go about it. So we got her a game plan step by step. But yeah, this was really wonderful, really beneficial session. So I hope you enjoy. All right. So we drop into the scene and I ask, "Where are you? What do you see?" She tells me there are mountains on the right, and on the left there is a river with mountains behind that and a large open space. It's during the day, it's very comfortable, it's a peaceful place, and she is very content here. "Can you see a body?" "I can see feet." "What do those feet look like?" "They kind of look human, but weirdly bigger. Almost like, I can't tell if it's a person or another creature. They are bare feet." I ask her to move up the body and see if she is wearing clothing. No, I'm not sure if eagle is the right word, but that kind of creature. Not like dinosaur, but weird skin. Not crocodile, but kind of like scales. All right, good. So I ask her to zoom out so she can take a look at this whole creature. She can do this if she wants to. She knows how. All right, so what do you see? What do you notice? It's almost like half human, but half another creature. It has human features, and it still stands up. Okay, good. So move around. Get comfortable in this body. What is that like? Oh, yeah. It's quite bouncy when it walks. What kind of place do you live in? Let's see what your home looks like. Okay. Oh, I live in the trees. Oh, it has wings. There are wings on the back. When I had zoomed out, I only saw the front, but now I can feel the wings. What is it like to fly? If you would like to fly around, you can do so. Oh, that's so great. That just makes my heart beat so fast. Are you flying? Yes. Oh. I tell her she can enjoy the flight, look all around, and to tell me what she sees. I see a lot of life. There are a lot of other creatures like me, and it's a very warm, tropical climate. Everything feels alive. How would you communicate? Can you communicate with these other creatures? It's like a sound communication, like clicks. I don't know if I can repeat it. What role do you play in this community? Well, let's see. It's like everyone communicates. Everyone can understand each other. It seems like all the creatures that are there are living in harmony with the land, the environment, and with nature, and in a really positive way. Wonderful. Very good. That sounds like a really nice place. So let's explore this story. So let's move, and I move her to the next day. I ask my clients to move to a day that they consider important. Tell me what you see. We've just had an earthquake. It's as if the whole community felt it. They haven't been attacked, but everyone is scared because everything is moving. Has this happened before? Not that I remember or know of. Well, let's see what happens, and let's see how these creatures are responding. So, no, we haven't been attacked, but, oh, this is weird. We're shifting to another world. Were they expecting this? Well, from what I can see, and I'm talking to this well, it's not an owl creature, but it's the size of a bird, and he's older. He knows things. He expected this, but he didn't expect it to happen this soon. The whole vibe of all the other creatures, though, is that they are really scared. They aren't sure what is going to happen or what is happening. So this happened sooner than expected? Why would it have happened sooner? What came to mind is that it needed to happen. They needed to shift. So it was needed? Yeah, it was needed. What is the purpose of a shift, I ask? To shake things up. So this is a little strange, but it's for a new world to come into place. Is that scary, or is it a negative thing? No, I feel that this is a positive thing. It's a really good thing, even if we don't understand it right now. It really is positive. Are most creatures aware of this? It seems like for a lot of the creatures, they won't be aware that it's for the better when it is happening. Tell me about those creatures that are living in fear. So it seems like because they are unknowing of what is going on, they can't, from their perspective, they were living in harmony with nature and with the environment. So they don't understand why this shift happened. And they don't know that it's for the better, and that's what scares them. Okay, that makes sense. Will they gain a knowing? So the owl creature has tried to kind of spread calmness and explain the situation, and I think some of them will realize it's for the better, and the creatures that don't realize that it's for the better or that they needed to go through the shift will still live in fear. And I'm seeing that they will spin around and around and around until they get so dizzy they just fall over. What do you do in this time? I'm like a wisdom rock. So with everything going on and all the confusion, I am like a steady, things will be fine kind of being. So I ask her to move to another important day. What's happening? What do you see? It's just really quiet. It's the same place, but everything is just quiet. It's very still. It used to have a lot of active life, a lot of hustle and bustle. How do you spend your time now? Well, all I can see is that I'm sitting in a tree, and it's really early in the morning kind of quiet. So, you usually only experience this kind of quiet in the morning before everything wakes up. But it's like this all day now. Everything is really new. The only thing I can say is that I'm sitting in the tree and it's just quiet. There is a group of trees where a lot of creatures live. The creatures also live down in the valley. And then on the other side of the mountain, it's the same. It's all just very quiet. Do you converse with your neighbors around you? Yeah, There are some other beings like me, 4, maybe 5. We're all just very quiet and just very reflective about it. So going through this, what have you learned? What are you feeling? I'm feeling quite calm, really reflective about it all, and almost elevated above it. Not look down, but I can look at it from afar and I get this, kind of feeling. Like it's just okay. So what are you learning? I'm learning to keep calm, to stay calm. Things are working out for the better. Even while it seems chaotic, there is a knowing that there will be a new day tomorrow, even if it is in a different world. Do others feel this way? Do you communicate with them? Well, whatever this group is that I'm with here, the 4 to 5 of them in the trees, we aren't a part of what's going on in our valley. So we have our own small community and they are feeling better. There is a renewed calmness and appreciation of what is. It's just so still and quiet. The creatures that were spinning around and around down there, and the ones that just fell over, it seems like they're slowly starting to wake up. It's still really still, but they're slowly starting to get moving. You know that wondering feeling? That's what I see down there. That it's almost like they just woke up out of a really bad dream, are just in awe. Are they aware now? Yes and no. They are wondering about what was heard from the owl and if it was true, but each is going to have to decide on their own in their own time. It's still hard to believe what everyone else says. It's a knowing that has to come from within, and it's starting for a couple of them. Everyone is getting up and they are moving in a much more sense of just disbelief right now. How quickly did this happen? Did it take a lot of time? I feel like it took more time. The chaotic panicking, that was over a long period of time, but it was like some time went missing from when everything went quiet. Everything woke up overnight though. That happened overnight when it got going. So I move her to another day when something important is happening. So where are you? What do you see after this shift and everyone starts waking up? So my group, we're sitting on the mountain now. We're kind of sitting in a circle around some rocks or stones. It's not a statue, but it's some sort of formation in the center. They're saying some sort of mantra or prayer, and it's evening. So I tell her that she can hear the mantra. She can hear what they are saying and that she can understand it and translate it. So a word I can't understand, but it will protect us and everything will be all right. That's what they're saying. What is the significance of this rock, I ask? It symbolizes life on the planet. Was it put there or is it natural? It was put there. It's like a lot of rocks on top of each other. Who put it there? It's something we built together in this group. How did you know how to do this? It was intuitive. I have a feeling that we were meditating around each one of the rocks in the formation. We all put our hands on the rocks. Who are those souls around you? They are the saviors of the planet. They protect the planet. That is very important to be a part of that. How is the change affecting everyone now? Everything that happened was positive. It is going to have a big impact on the way that we are living, and that's why they are sitting around this formation. We are manifesting and connecting to other spirits. They are working to get the new world in place and helping the creatures to get used to that. Why couldn't it stay the same? It was a really low vibration way of living and interacting with the environment. So even though it seemed like everyone and everything was living in harmony, there is a better way. Was the vibration raised? Yes. It seems like around this rock formation, it is very light, very peaceful, but also very powerful. Powerful enough to help us raise the vibration. Have all the creatures moved into a new way of living, or did some stay in fear? The ones that stayed living in fear are kind of dissolving, or more like floating off to the side. It's almost like they're just flowing away. Does anyone take care of them? It's kind of like they're still flowing out, but they just continue in almost a different world. I think they'll be taken care of. I ask her to float away from this life and move to a place of knowledge. So we have left this life, and this can take us anywhere. All right, so what do you see? I see a lot of light. It's like I'm in the clouds. I can't really see, but it's more like a feeling of being surrounded by light and a softness. She doesn't feel a body, she's just floating. So we get her settled and we look to see if there is anything or anyone there. I can see a lot of golden white light, a lot of glittery, sparkly lights. And there is someone here. It's a very wise looking soul, and I think he has knowledge. Well, if you'd like to, you can ask him questions. Would you like to do that? I would. Let's ask his name. What is his name? And if it's a hard one, you can ask him to spell it. So all I'm getting is O-M-I. Like Omi? Yes. And what is Omi? Omi is a lot of things, but right now he's the sound of the universe. Can you tell her about her purpose in that life she just lived? To bring calmness to people. It was important in all of the uncertainty. Not for the creatures or the spirits, but more so of the vibration of the world. It was important to keep herself elevated in that she needed to help raise the vibration for the creatures and the souls. She did this by staying calm and not getting involved in the chaos. Why do worlds go through shifts? To shake things up. We needed to put a new world in place for the better. Why do things need shaken up? They get too stagnant. They need this if they aren't working in the most optimal way. They need to get shaken up to fall back into place, into harmony. When things are out of tune with the entire universal vibration, they need to get shaken to fall back into place. How is something like this decided? It has always been decided to do this for the greater good, the higher vibration of the universe, and this is how the whole universe works. We aren't really supposed to know how, but it's a higher meaning of what's happening. Where was this life? This life was on a different planet than she is currently living on in this life, but it has a link to Earth. It is a parallel universe similar to Earth. Did this shift have an effect on Earth? And if so, was it positive? Every time it shifts in that parallel universe, it shifts here on Earth as well. They work together to make the shift happen. It seems to happen at the same time. And while it's not at the same time, she goes on to explain, it's almost like a reactionary time. It's like one happened and the other one happens. So while it's not exact as we may see it, it is very close. So it seems like that universe may happen just a little bit earlier than planet Earth. Are the creatures on that planet, or is that planet aware of us on Earth? Yes. What is happening with Earth? Earth also needs to be shaken up. We also need to quiet the earth. What does it mean to quiet the earth? To bring stillness and more peace and harmony with how people on earth are living. Are we a loud planet? Yes, earth is very loud. So I ask about the missing time for the creatures on the ground, and if he can clarify that. The same will happen on earth. Not all people will be aware of the shift, and it may be more of a subconscious shift. It is in people. Not all people will be aware, and if you aren't aware or you don't realize, that's the piece that's missing. Some people can just skip that part and not heighten their vibration. That's what seems to fade out. So those were those people that were floating away? Yes, that's what I see. Those that chose to ignore and to not allow a raising of their vibration. What's our timeline? It seems like it's going to be over a couple months. The shift is going to happen over a couple months, and for those that aren't aware, those that don't realize the bigger impact and the longer term effect that it has, it seems that those will be the ones that are shifting out to the side. And so keep in mind, this isn't her higher self yet. Does he have anything else he wants to tell you or any other messages for you? Just stay calm. You guys will be fine. Well, if we are going to be fine, then why do we get nerves, or why do we feel fear or wonder to those deep, dark places? That is the human experience. But for you, your consciousness or your vibration is higher than that of fear. It is something you can shift out of. So it's just kind of there to test that you're not falling into that spiraling around and falling into that rabbit hole. It tests us to see if we can pull ourselves out of that because of a deeper knowing. It knows that that's not where the vibration lies. It is the human way of reacting to things, but you can pull yourselves out of it. I ask him to show her a time when things have settled down and changed or turned around.
I just that depends on a lot of things and how I'll react to things. But that it could be really living in harmony. Oh, I just got a really strong picture of, I don't know if it's Northern America or some sort of, just a really, yeah, seems like it would be Northern America, like a farm or just a really like nature reserve kind of area.
And what do you see in that picture?
It's just it seems like a really nice, there's a house at the place, and like horses, a lot of space. I see mountains, and kind of like crisp weather. So it's not like I feel like it would be warm in summer. But it's interesting because I've had that image before, like it would just like randomly pop into my head, and I was like, oh, that seems like a nice place. But then I haven't really given it much thought.
So let's see if we can zoom out of that picture. Let's zoom out and look at the rest of the world. And you're able to do this. What does the rest of the world look like?
It just seems way quieter and way more peaceful. It's like it seems like it's like a newfound respect for the planet and the way that we are living. Like people paying way more attention to, Don't know if that's in 5 years though.
Okay. And does the structure of like the continents, do the oceans, do those look the same, or has there been a change?
They still look the same. It seems like I'm not really sure what that is, but there's way more like flow of people on the continents. So it's not as divided, but it seems way more,
Okay.
yeah, not like flowing.
Like everyone's kind of spread out equally.
Yeah,
And is this,
and just that it's like Europe seems way more calm and way more um yeah, just not as many people. And like same with both North and South America.
can you see what the government system looks like at this time?
It's just got like that's falling apart. Um so it's like the people who are in charge. That's interesting.
What can you see?
Just that it seems like there's way more or like way less control over like the way that we're living life. Like people are finding new ways of living that are more aligned with what what feels natural, I guess. Um, so just say I have just America of not. It seems way less controlled, and then it's kind of on the other side, like in Europe, it just seems like people, so like all the people are kind of like staying really tall, and it's way less control for them both sides to live their life. So when I think about like government and get that picture in my head, it's like they're like really frustrated, but they're kind of here where the people are here. So they seem really like physically small, like really tiny humans.
Or so I tell her. She can watch this next part like a movie. She can stand back if she wants, and it won't affect her. But I say, let's see in that same time frame what it would look like worst case scenario. We know this is also dependent on a lot of things. I see a lot of chaos. I see a lot of, such a dark feeling. There's a lot of anger. People are frustrated and aggressive. There's so much tension, and they haven't found that calm stage yet. It's so sad. I remind her it won't bother her physically or mentally. So we thank him. I don't want to go too far into it, just to get an idea. So we thank him, and he goes on his way, and we bring in the higher self or the subconscious. Why did you show her that parallel lifetime? It is important for what is happening in the world now and the shift that we are going through. Why is it important? It's important to know that you need to stay calm, but also to be aware of the shift. Notice what is going on and don't ignore the fact that something is going on. What is going on in our world at this time? It is a massive shift for humanity and in our way of thinking and living our life for such a long time. It is not aligned with how we were supposed to live and spend our time on this planet. What was the original intention of how we were supposed to live? What was this planet meant for? You were meant to live in harmony and with nature and with the creatures on this planet. just to experience nature and the beauty of a physical life. Why is that important for the soul or for the being? Why should we live in harmony? This planet is a very physical experience. We are connected to the heart. On other planets and other dimensions, it's not as physical as of an experience. What is she, the client, learning from the shift at this time? Just to be connected to her true purpose and to what is going on, what she is there to do. What is she here to do? To bring joy and calmness and to help people. What is the best way for her to do this? To be, oh man, he is so loud. Okay, hang on. I'm supposed to reassure people and to bring new ways of living, making people aware that the old way of doing things. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, well, we can ask him to clarify, but let's ask how you do these things. Well, we'll know eventually, but it has to start with normal things. Things that are not as out there. Also things that are more relatable for people. Things they know now, and then they can bring into practice. So like during physical activity, that's the basic. And then they can relate it and bring in other elements and mold it into the practice. What's an example? What's one way for her to do this? Bring in more holistic perspectives into the world. Bring in nutrition and mindset and nature. Maybe doing these things, that's what's going to bring all those components together, but make it easy to understand. They don't need to know all of the effects, like how beneficial exercise in nature is, etc., but bring it in. Set the example, plant the seeds, and let them follow. Just little bits at a time. Small habits and practices will create a bigger picture. They don't always realize or hold on to awareness of how they will be affected by this, but it allows them to learn on their own time. And so we go into some personal stuff from here, so I will skip over that. The subconscious gives her a game plan, which was what she was looking for, of just how to grow, what she's doing, how to make that switch over, how to become kind of independent from a facility that she is tied to. They currently own a lot of the work that she does, and so she wants to know how to make those steps moving away. So we covered that. And I ask, how will she know if she's on her path or doing the right thing? Feel how it feels in the heart. Pay attention to that and don't ignore obvious signs. What's an obvious sign? Feeling restless and unsettled in what she is doing. That is an obvious sign. How can we reassure her that things will be okay? Take time to be still. Feel into different things instead of that. Keep going, keep going. Reflect and find your answer in that stillness. Calm the mind and pay attention to different sensations in the body. Tell me about those sensations. This is reflecting on what we are doing. It is a good way of getting signs if you are on the right path or if things are off. Find the stillness and explore different scenarios. Pay attention to those scenarios. Pay attention to how they make you feel. This time, having to be at home is a very good opportunity to be still and feel into things. Go with the flow. What can you tell us about us having to stay home this quarantine? It's a really good time to take time to be still. It's good to go to nature and take time for yourself. It's good to not have any other schedule but your own. So doing things that would be good for mental, physical, and spiritual health. Get in a practice that benefits. We don't want you slacking at home. We want you to have discipline, but we don't want you to have the stress or get down on yourself. There's no deadlines here. We just want you to take the time. Take the time to look after yourself. What will she notice if she does this? How easy and flowing life can be. Life doesn't have to be stressful. It can be flowing in a nice, smooth way. If you follow your heart, you will find that you have your own rhythm and your own way to do things. You don't have to force life or live it in someone else's way. I ask about the worst and best case scenarios we saw. How do we reach the best case? Take time to meditate. Feel into what feels right. Think about the scenarios, watch the reactions, go outside, be in nature. Be in the body and not always in the mind. All right, and what about the worst case? If we continue to do things that we have always done and keep thinking that the way things we did before, if we continue doing them, it will create more chaos. So because the shift is happening, even if people don't know, in the subconscious, there will be a change. This will raise the vibration depending on the reaction. So if they ignore the change, this will cause the world of chaos. We do have to acknowledge it. There will be conflict in the mind and the way that we are living. Why would people ignore this? It seems to be safe and the easy way to do it because they have been doing it for such a long time. So when you raise your vibration, you can go into another state in the mind. It can bring things up and almost be confronting. Some people don't want that, or they won't be ready for it. They don't want confrontation, and they want to stay in their bubble of beliefs that have been built their whole lives about life and society and who they are. When you raise that vibration, you may find that someone and some of these things are not aligned with their true selves, and that can be uncomfortable. Some people will want to ignore this. What can we tell or do to help people who may potentially stay in their old habits, old ways about the change and the coming out of that? This is hard to tell people, but by setting an example, it could inspire people, even if they don't realize it. Being your true self can inspire people to either do the same, or if they choose to ignore it, then that's what they need to learn in this lifetime. Holding space to let them be themselves can encourage them to be more and more their true self. What does the next year look like for my client? It's going to be a bit chaotic, but it will be a good opportunity to be still. Even if the world goes crazy, she can find peace and quiet within. The world is going to be a bit of a mess. Travel is currently unknown. It may not be the full year, but it may calm down within about 4 to 6 months. After that, there will be some rebuilding. Tell me about this. This is a rebuilding of a person. It seems like more and more people are going to start seeking out other ways of getting answers. People will want to know what is happening and what it means because there is a shift in the mind and in the consciousness. People are more willing to do the work that you two are working with and doing. They are more interested in seeking within that area. Is it important for people to ask about what's going on? It is important, but it is important to ask within what it means for them as an individual. This is important for them to find out. When you ask other people for answers, it doesn't always resonate with their or your true self. So what is happening has a different meaning for all of us. Others' answers are not necessarily yours. What is happening is different for all of us. It could be that there is a collective shift in the world and the way that we are living, but it might be different for each person and the way that they are living. So everyone has to think about this as an individual and on their own level. Should we expect to have to stay in this required stay-at-home state? It seems like there is a change with that. People expect it to last longer than it might, so even though traveling might be restricted for a while, it's not completely off. Things will start to open again, but it will be really quiet for a long time. Do people need to continue to follow these restrictions? People need to learn to make their own choices, and that it's not as bad and it's not as out of proportion of the whole picture as it looks. So it is important to take precautions, and people should do that anyways. From a universal point of view, this is making people to take time to reflect and think about other ways of living. To stay inside makes them think about how they can connect with people they need to connect with. But it's not the virus that will be affecting them. It's the demonstration around the virus that may affect them. Is this virus something new? This virus is not something new. It has been there for a long time. It's just creating a thing with your media and some other groups where they're saying, oh, now this is dangerous. But it has been there. It's not new. While people are dying, they are also dying for other reasons. So I ask about the big pharmaceutical companies. They are trying to benefit from the situation. They didn't necessarily create it, but I'm giving an image of the government and the pharmaceutical world. They are trying to control everything, and it seems that with the two groups of people, one will panic and say we need restrictions and vaccines, and the other group will say this is not right. This is our time to question the whole system and what they are doing. They will focus on how we live, how we treat animals, and how we treat the planet. If that group is bigger, then the more fearful group that will listen to the government, that will listen to Big Pharma, then they, the government and Big Pharma, will fall apart. And their plan about how this is going to go won't happen. How do people like my client play into this? This is the vibration. Hold space for people. Learn how to live the true and authentic life in the way that she is already doing. She has always known how to do this. Others have always known how to do this. She and they have always known that they were meant to do something bigger. This is the opportunity to connect with that purpose. The way that they can help people will be different from the normal way to help and support people in their journey in life. So I ask if he has any last words or anything else for her. Go outside, spend time in nature, and meditate. It's not as crazy as it seems. You got this. So I ask a couple questions. So the time of darkness, we've been hearing about this. Yes, it seems like this could happen, but it also seems like you are already in that time of darkness. What about potentially shutting down the internet? It is possible. It is still dependent on a lot of things right now. It could happen for maybe 5 to 10 days, but when it shuts down, it kind of backfires, because what people realize is that even if everything shuts down, they will still have all the necessities that they need. They'll have a warm home, food, and they can still go to the store. And being in contact with the whole world is not necessary for people to survive. When would this happen? It's probably a little further out. It's decided, well, it's not necessarily decided by the government, as they don't have an interest in that. But there is another group that would want to instill fear. The biggest thing that we can say about this is that they're trying to create fear. Stay out of the fear. Go inside. You have the light. You have the love. You have everything you need within yourself.
Oh, that was so cool.